You just have to flood a country's public square with enough raw sewage.
And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you.
Once they lose trust in their leaders, in mainstream media, in political institutions, in each other, in the possibility of truth, the game's won.
With Broken Truth, I'm John Davidson, and this is Del Bigtree. Welcome, Del. Del, you just released a movie, didn't you?
I did, an Inconvenient study.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Thank you. It's sweeping the country. It's a it's a project that started was in the making since 2016 when I challenged the head of Henry Ford Health, which is one of our biggest research institutes in the world. I challenged him to do a vaccinated versus unvaccinated comparative study.
Right.
If vaccines are so great, certainly show us.
Sure.
And I was really, this study's been done before, but I've heard numbers like 5. I know of 5 studies. I've also heard some scientists saying there's 10 vaccinated versus unvaccinated studies. Either way, every single one of them showing the same thing, that the vaccinated are far sicker than the unvaccinated. But those studies get torn apart because it's either a pediatrician that, allows some of his patients to not be vaccinated, like Dr. Paul Thomas did a study. And so they say, well, they were anti-vaxxers, or they get lumped into a category. Why I wanted Henry Ford Health to do this and Dr. Marcus Zervos, head of virology, was I wanted an institution that absolutely profoundly believes in vaccines.
Right.
That's entire agenda was to prove me wrong. That's the best kind of science there is. That's a crash test, right? I don't want my crash test done by Ford. I want my crash test done by an independent researcher that's trying to destroy that car and then tell me it survived, it's safe.
Yeah.
I wanted the same thing here. I wanted a scientist that was going to try to prove the anti-vaxxers wrong, and that's what he set out to do. The study was finished in 2020, and then he refused to publish it. I eventually, after a couple of years of saying, come on, the world needs to know the truth, what is in that study, I went out to dinner with him. I took recording equipment, hidden cameras, so that people could hear that conversation. And that is at the heart of this film.
That was so powerful.
Yeah, it's very, very important.
When you can flip a skeptic and then catch them performing a cover-up, that's damning.
It's pretty damning. So we are in a moment now with this conversation. One of the things that people are starting to wake up to is reproducible science.
Right.
What we're hearing that like half of the science that's being published in medical journals can't be reproduced, which means it was bunk. It was just, a bait and switch or magic trick that didn't actually have science behind it.
Right.
When you start seeing different entities, and especially people that don't believe it, doing a study and coming up with the same result, the vaccinated are far sicker, 2.5 times more likely to have a chronic disease if they're vaccinated, which is what this study showed.
Right.
You have a real problem, and that is, and it's sparking a scientific debate. This film is around. People can watch it for free. Just go to inconvenientstudy.com.
Now, we're both former Hollywood people, so I know in my experience, getting the people that we used to work with in our old world on board with what we're doing now is a challenge. They're afraid.
Yeah.
Have you, especially since this movie, I mean, you're way out there. Like, you've been pushing the envelope for a long time, but
Yeah.
has this movie opened any more doors with your old colleagues back east or west?
I'm trying to think of it specifically, yeah, look, I have a friend that's a producer that didn't believe what I was saying, but has a baby coming and has watched this film and now gets his, like, I'm not going to
Right.
vaccinate my baby. So that's one direct contact. I got to go back. We went back just, I guess it was about a month ago now. We got accepted into the Malibu Film Festival, which is something that never, ever would have happened. There's no Hollywood festival that when I made Vaxxed, we got into Tribeca Film Festival and got kicked out.
Right.
And that was the only festival that even
Wow.
dared to give us a day in there, and we were kicked out because of the content.
Mm-hmm.
But here we were in Malibu a month ago, and we won Best of Festival.
Congratulations.
So I think that's a huge sign that you are starting to see a shift on this conversation.
Yeah, it's been a real eye opener this last 5 years, especially. I mean, it's almost like a wildfire is about to take place, right?
Yeah.
How do you think it's going to go the next 2 or 3 years?
I think these are maybe the next 2 or 3 years are probably the most important years for the future of the United States of America, which I think now sits as the last remaining, glowing ember of hope for freedom. We saw it really come under attack during COVID. We watched the whole world fall. Only our Constitution held it at bay at some level, but I was still forced to wear a mask if I wanted to get on a plane. The church that I went to was shut down, but the bars were kept open, and we watched the science lie. And watched Tony Fauci say, "You can't challenge me, I'm the science." Now he admits social distancing was made up, so there's no point to lock us down. Masks, there's no study that shows that it could stop a particle as small as coronavirus. And the 95% effective has been proven to everyone in the world to have been a lie. People that are getting the vaccine are getting sick 4, 5, 6 times with COVID. And we're seeing insane amounts of side effects. Pericarditis, swelling of the heart, myocarditis is now recognized as far more dangerous in young boys than the disease itself. So all of this has shifted, I think, the confidence of America against the regulatory agency. That's why Robert Kennedy Jr. is at HHS, was because of the failing of science, the lies that happened. So we are in a totally different world now. We're in a world that is starting to recognize what I'm now saying, which is if you're pro-vaccine, you're anti-science.
Right.
They have no science. They have no evidence. We've been saying it for years. They'll go on television and tell you, we've got it. Show it. Show your work. Why has New York Times never published a placebo-based trial
Of course.
on the front of that newspaper? It'd be
Right.
the biggest paper they've ever done. I'm still waiting for it. And they could say, see, Robert Kennedy Jr. is wrong. They can't do it because they have no science, and the world is waking up to this, which means we are in a new frontier. And the reason this issue is important is if you believe you're a free nation, how can you be a free citizen if you don't control what goes into your own body?
Right.
If you can be forcibly injected with a product that you have no control over, or they can forcibly inject your children with a product you have no control over, you have the same exact rights as a farm animal. And that is where we're at least 5 states in this country. And that has got to change.
We are lab rats.
Yeah.
Del, I wish we had more time. You are a light and an inspiration to people like me and everyone else around this world. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
I believe in the Constitution. I believe that one case, the right case, can change the world. If you believe this too, Freedom Council is for you. Pursuing a major case can be overwhelming, but we provide a community of practice so that you have the resources available to support your case. My name is Warner Mendenhall, and we are Freedom Council. Join Freedom Council today. freedomcouncil.org.